ladies and gentlemen, of course, we talk of Dishwanda Kakuma as the refugees came, but the refugees who come from Ethiopia, refugees who come from DRC, Sudan, which they now called even it was Sudan as SPLA, and then in Sudan as Sudan is still and is still Sudan for us. That's the word we know, because Kakuma is in Kenya, and then there's towards Sudan border to Uganda and Kenya, and then of course there we have more than 10 countries refugees, and then of course Kakuma is an African that will not escape for the refugees at large, making sure food is plenty for surplus as usual. And then first and most, refugees all equal supplies, and then he stopped protest against all the refugees status within the East African states, because SPLA, SPLM and DRC, Ethiopia added of course a new refugees status, which also affected the other refugees status, giving them no other turnaround of course with the SPLA or Sudan People Liberation Army or movement force alongside these corruptions to escape food to SPLA control zones in sourced. Okay, alongside Kenya, Uganda, DRC force also dilemma to the refugees around African countries. Okay, increase supplies, and then of course why we need the supplies to be increased, because food is needed over those areas. Those refugees, they're older, they flee to Kenya during the year of the genocide in Rwanda. So that is a combined force which come from Rwanda, combined force which come from DRC, combined force, and then the people who come from DRC could be the volcanoes, flee because of the volcano fuel, because of other things. Then relief, that is a disaster reliefs, and then also for relocations within Africa, and then to the seeking relocation. They want to go to USA, they want to go to Canada, they want to travel to Africa, to Australia and other regions. That's why they are all in Kakuma. So there are 10 countries actually there, and then we have Uganda, we have Kenyans there also in that refugees camp. But all along they are teaching there in Kenya, and then they are also teaching in minimum wages, and then on which they are also sacrificing a lot, like they're giving more energy for children. Those children, they could be your children, they could be our children, they could be whose children, they could be community children, and then in the vis-a-vis, they're all there, but they're all giving more for those people, and then the money they're earning there is less money. If we talk of those monies, the money is less than the addition $37 Canadian dollars a month, which they're earning, the teachers they're earning in the refugees camp. That's why the situations there is under refugees situations, and then mostly all the jobs are done voluntarily, and therefore they are for sure all the refugees, they've been there since 1989. Since 1989, if you talk of since 1989 to these years, and then of course those food, they grow them from alongside other areas. They're using farm equipments, and then they're using industrial equipments. They have those industrial equipments. Secondly, we also say USA for UNSR. Okay, that is made in USA, made in America, and then it's always there. Some cooking oils, and then some soap bar soaps, and then some ungas, ugalis, and then which they call wood all-purpose flours. And then we have this kind of course, beans, red beans, and others, of course, others. And then you name it, and you name it, all kind of beans, of course, they have to bring to those people, and then that is mostly what we know there. So also concerned to schools materials, of course they have to supply school material for the students there. And then we talk of health, also the hospital dispensaries, they have to receive those kind of balances and the medicines and many other things around there. Also concerns to hydros, yeah, they have to supply hydros sometimes to some convenience stores, which the refugees also status they are having there. And then of course that is basically the life which they are earning there. And then for sure, if now this is the root cause here, we are focusing on combating this in Sudan. And then this guy which cut this land here, which the land alongside where these refugees because they walk on foot, they walk there, they walk from Sudan to this area. That year 1989, it was all walk to Uganda, all walk to Kenya. And then if in regard they have to get to UNHCR and then track, and then they track them and then they display them by UNHCR. That is UN giving the support when after they reach to the border. With the luggages on their head, walking, because there is no car, no nothing, of course. You know, the situation is worse, as we say. What is the basic they are lacking during the SPLA war? There is lack of farm equipment, and then lack of dish and lack of what we call industrial equipment. There is nothing of those orders. No furnitures, of course, no nothing good there manufactured for them and then delivered for them. Whatever their exchanges which are coming from alongside East Africa entry to Sudan those years, and then those exchanges they are there, but in minimal, and then you have to buy. You buy, you get it. You do not buy, you do not get it. If what else they bought it, and then what else it was grabbed off from them by the SPLA, and then that is when they were using and then adapting and then kidnapping people, and then they have to go away with you to somewhere, and then to kidnap you again, and then to rob your stuff, and then go to the bushes, hiding. That's why they lost a lot also before they flee to those kind of countries. So now this country is still exercising what they call divisions alongside the Sudan. And then there we create this line here. We cut Equatoria. We try to unite Sudan by Equatoria. The word Equatoria. Equatoria is a long sentence, and then we name the Equatoria to unite Sudan again, so that we can combat that peace deal with the Equatoria, rather than using source as a peace deal down there. So to limit that conflict, and then to focus on what we need to survive, and then what we need to do. Because if we talk of men are enough there. Of course, men can supply, men have enough supplies there to provide. Of course, they can provide the energies, but what about the equipment? There is no equipment, no nothing. And then what do you expect they will do there? Nothing. That's why we say so. If you talk of addition, of course, that is we see that cases as the root cause to addition to the first war in Sudan. That's why it's the root cause down there. So that's why the refugee status with that root cause of the lack of farming equipment, lack of industrial equipment, and then the sick addition assistance with the addition with the UNHCR as USA for UNHCR. For that regards on that very overview. So lack of addition, of course, lack of addition, fellowships, which is said, Sally, you are new chase. Follow addition the SPLA chase policies. If that is the source, chase people to Uganda, I heard. The source, they call themselves their source. Then they live alongside Uganda. They live to they move to Moyo, and then they are residing around Moyo. Moyo is Moyo, Uganda. Moyo is Moyo, Sudan. Moyo is Moyo, DRC, Congo, Zaire. And then if you live down there, and then what is your new cause? If your new cause is again the chase, the real new chase by SPLA source, and then they noted the SPLA Sudan. Now, your new chase is SPLA source. So that affect we who are being down there, the people we have, the families we have there. Are they gonna be a disaster for them? They're not gonna have what do they have on the order, because the order there is different, lack of different equipments. If we, for sure we have the equipments, we have farming equipment, we have the land to do the jobs, and then we have, of course, if we talk of men, we have men, whatever they are alcohol consumers, they are consuming alcohol abundantly, and then they don't know what times to do the job right. And then, of course, there will be few trainings with the younger youth which come up newly. And then, of course, since they are also going to school 4 times, and then they are over 40,000, and then we put those kind of people, and then they facilitate what is available in the areas of different industries. They manufacture, they process foods, and then those food they process, and then they also process different constructions. They can also process roads, of course. They can do what is basic in the industries if this is mandatory, and then they can participate fully if there is availability of farm equipment. If you want additional blockages to block these people away from feeding them, if this is USA for UNSR give the order for them, and then you become now another name there, your faculty is another name, because you want you are using this kind of a tactics. This is propaganda. You want to ensure, I bring my policy, follow my policy, I'm a source, I'm not the Sudanese. What is your policy there? You are not the Sudanese, and then we say move to that area, Baragazal. Don't come to Juba area. This is leave Juba as Equatorial, and then we are there Sudanese. We don't want you if you don't want. That's the policy there. So if that is mandatory, and then your propaganda should go that end around there. So if we don't have the equipment, we don't have anything, that is the policy has been already understand as a human right. That's why those people stand, they will provide food. They stand, they will provide energy. Availabilities of water, they will provide availabilities what they have already, because the hospital, they already bring hospital to them, they already put the roof over their heads, there is no water leakages, and then what they know there, they will keep repairing their homes. Whatever there is leakages, they will repair those homes, they will give them money, they will give them energy, they will give them medications, and then to facilitate that management alongside. So that is the areas. Now, where do you as SPLA put your SPLA contract of war in these questions? So if the other guy said, I'm ambassador there, you are Chol, I'm not too sure, Jongo or whoever, you say you've been living in Kakuma, and then you've been in Kakuma for at least for duration of times, and then in the duration of years, and then now you are in Nairobi. How is your first war situation as an SPLA or Sudan the People Liberation Army or movement in Sudan the border alongside the Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, DRC, Central African Republics? If you are now in East Africa, where if you are now in East Africa, okay, how comes that you guys make it possible that you cut this land, the land which has been controlled by the EU, as you say, you ambassador to East Africa, and then you control that land of Sudan here to the border or of this East African border. You sit down there, and then these are the refugees. They flee, and then they come and they sit there. You've been there. You also teach by one of them, and the guy who teach you, who give you the skill, is a Sudanese. But you now go back to Sudan, and then you come with the role, because you say UNSR participated with you, because you smuggled the book, you stolen the book. That's why we kick even your mouth yesterday, because of that criteria. You have stolen their books, then you claim you went with somewhere there, you write a recommendation because the books has a letter a long letter which you also include, because there is a track of recommendations written, main recommendation written, office recommendations down there, they're listed alongside. That's why it involves a lot of corruptions with you guys down there, and then now today you claim, yeah, you're ambassador down there. But if you're ambassador to find, how comes, what about the cutting itself down there? Gonna now develop this one, writing this one alongside this kind of a border where you're speaking and you're claiming that you're ambassador down there, and then you guys you cut this Ethiopia there, portional this to the Kenya area, you mark so up to this one, up to Central Africa, and then does this chat who refuse with you and fought with you a war even down there. If you move yourself here, you are dead. And then you fear, up to today, you fear Chad, and then you cannot go to Chad because of that. And then we encourage Chad to continue with that enthusiasms, and then if they can support the South Sudan, we are here in Equatoria, we will still combat, and we will force you that end, you remain in the middle with your nonsenses. We don't want you even this area of intro to the East Africans. If the Chad, if people even, as you know, that's why we cut you even away from that Central Africa. You can no longer manage that border because you're not the one border. Who is the border? That is the West Equatoria. Who is the border? That is the East Equatoria. And then that is the source, is the normally is the smallest guy down there. Don't mind about that. That's why we don't call even the word source down there in the entry to Uganda. Because why? We know that the vehicles normally, this is the business of Juba is not made for this one, for Juba facilities. The business of Juba is made by the facilities of East African business. That is Kenya, which itself manufacturing the goods. That's the goods which is manufactured from this one, from ginger. And then you people, you ambush the vehicle which come from East Africa. You ambush the vehicles, you burn all the trucks down there even. The truck drivers, they got even damaged down there. There are bus which goes even on accident. Several incidents down there over inside that entry down there. So you don't know if that's the situations, and then the situations of the Juba itself, Juba will not agree with you because they're using the word comma. They're still Juba Sudan. They're saying to the foreigners, they don't want to involve too much, agreeing with you, and then you are still persisting that you're hitting your ATO. That is your ATO, which is the border side, which is demolishing us to tolerate this statement which we said we Equatorian, we are for Sudanese. That's why we are still down there. We are still literate, and we are still not educated enough to rectify and then to fulfill and then to combat ourselves back. But we will get it back to the minutes if the orders remain to the normalisms. So overview, of course, we have this one. We talk of this one, the scenarios which is affecting this one, the Sudanese. That is the Sudanese who call themselves Sudanese, and then they were facilitated by the UN. You can now travel to Canada. Facilitated by the UN, you can now go to Australia. Facilitated by UN, you can go to anywhere around the rich countries, the first world, which is very rich, and then you go make your money. You make your money, you build your home. That is what they say. So if that's the situation, and then those guys, they said, yeah, yesterday we look at these people, the Sudanese here in London. We look at them, and then we said, yeah, these are Sudanese, of course. They're in good news chat. Of course, that is a party, the organized party. People are eating fine. The Canadian price is fine. American dollar is fine with Canada. If we look at the Canadian exchange rate with USA, the exchange rate could be 5 cents differences. Now, if you today you look at the Canada USA exchange rate, that is Canada is already poor. USA is still very rich. And then you may find we have 20 cents difference down there, or $18, 18 cents differences. That's why it's very big. Now we are only edition Canada, Australia. We are just like it. We are just the same. That is these countries, the two countries here. Now USA stand different. If that's the situation, how do you expect is the price here? Now the price is hindering the people, and then myself, if I'm auditioned, my order is auditioned. I'm a foreigners. I'm a travel. How to travel? My work is to mark, yes, to base the control. This is the control. I lay my control. This is the feedback people are earning. This is the tax rate. The tax rate is different, 13%. If that is 13% for me, I'm alone like this, 13%, and then you are there, whatever 8 people, that's 13% they give you. And then if out of 13% they say they give me 7%, or give me an plus 8%, and then that is 13%, or that's 15% you're getting down there. There is no other things beyond that you're gonna get. If that's the least you are getting, and then someone now playing another role, saying, do you have a family here in Canada? Yes, I will say it. I don't have really families here in Canada, in these countries. I look like I have families here in this country. This is how to travel. If it's a mandatory how to travel, that is an individual already reached to another extent, and then make themselves available. Yes, I'm in these countries, and then what I know is I'm here serving my requisitions. The areas which I request, this is in my workplace, this is my dues for me and my friends, if they could be my friends. And if you expect someone that stand as an obstacles, moving a friend to you, to me, or to you, it's better move my friends to your homes down there. And then if someone stand with this obstacle, how possible do you expect the isolations will meet these isolations? That is the impossibilities down there. That's why we talk in earlier we were doing what they call this is a gathering. You go there, you meet whoever you want to meet, you meet. That's why we are Sudanese. If now that is when we know we are all Sudanese, but now we have the isolations and isolations. The guy is focal is different. I'm a Sudanese, and then I'm not a Sudanese. I'm another expenditures somewhere down there in Sudan. I'm a different. That's why they have their logics, and then they own their own tricks which they're using, and then they're on which they're using the standard of I need your weaknesses from you. If you're weak, now I will take that opportunities, and then I will earn this big without you regretting, because you already bear a weakness. If you have the strength, of course, for me it will be impossibilities to earn that strength down somewhere there with you. With this laziness which I will get from you, and then so that I will own strength somewhere there. That's the request. Most of them they were seeking from us, and then that is the appeal, as we described and as we scanned the video yesterday of those Sudanese from our video from the picture albums, and then we photograph and we show you some families around Sudan areas. They call themselves Sudan at first, and then whatever these days they said, yeah, we are now these people, we don't know you, and then if you concentrate on Sudan, we don't know you, and then if you concentrate on Sudan, remain isolated, and then don't run this one, don't run yourself, don't run your this one, don't bring me to yourself. If you do, that could be the police if you need me there as a Sudanese, because I cannot do for you the work. That's what most of them they were saying in another statements. If we follow the plan B of the isolations and the isolations of that very regards down there. So on that case of this one, on that case we also talk very furtherly down there. And then we went and we chatted portionally this one, the zone in Kakuma. Of course, Kakuma is Kakuma 1. They call it Zone 1, Group 10D, Phase 1, Kakuma 1, Kakuma 2, Kakuma 3 down there. But we come from the areas called Kakuma Zone 1, and then that is the Phase 1. They call it Phase 1, not Phase 2, not Phase 3. but they're actually Kapuma 1, Kapuma 2, Kapuma 3 down there in Kenya. So that is a refugee camp in Kenya. And then was both me, myself, Wayne Hassan, as is it on, as I said, and that is a Lagu families as Uber Eat. And then me, myself, Wayne Hassan is this bank. This is this bank management. And then that is Uber Eat management and the families. That is a Lagu and the wife and the 4 kids along there, which also stand among those Sudanese. And then, of course, we've been partying with those other Sudanese. There are a lot of them. I cannot name all of you for you. And then I cannot list all of their names. It's too difficult. If you are in London, you can recognize them. Maybe you meet them in the store, you meet them at their homes, I don't know. But that is overview to overview. So basically, that is to do with. So here, we flee, as I said, we flee in the same caseload and the same case objectives, of course, to Canada. And that is the educational trips which has been made towards our file, because the guy which freed me and the families said, yeah, I was in Juba, Sudan, and then I have my degree, I have my diploma, and then in accounting. And then said, yeah, I have this order, because for me, I said, let me volunteer at one of these schools. And then the guy said, let me go to Windsor and do the consultation. I said, I have now no time. They need me to go and volunteer in the morning. And then my volunteer is from morning to 12 p.m. And then down there, the UN need people to stand outdoor there at the gate. You have to, if you want to travel to USA, you want to come to Canada, you have to be by the gate early in the morning. So this coincidence cannot keep me go to this area. That's why this guy have a diploma and they cannot go work at the school. The school, they are paying less money. Whatever they said, they waste time there. Those guys, they will pay them much on relation. If they teach at the university, maybe they will pay them roughly 15,000, 37,000. I'm not too sure, and it's not a good money. They want a little bit more money. They say that the university and they own a diploma. That's why for me, I'm just volunteering. That's why I went to school, and then I told him, let him assist me with my files. And then he carried my file with him, and then that's why he filled my file down there with me. And then because he was staying home idle, that's why I give my file to him. And then he went and worked on my behalf as well, and then his behalf, and then did that consultations after that, and then we were approved to USA. But USA said, and then at the end, that is a backlog. So maybe I was sent somewhere down there, and then I consult, yeah, I'm going. And then USA did this rejection, they rejected the paper, and then the paper was accepted in Canada. That is when we were renewed to Canada for employment. We come to Canada because of that, and then that is one case, and then we come to Canada for that overview. Between me and the Lagu and the wife and the 4 children, of course. You can see there, if you scan, you see me there with those guys, because we were in the same case lot. But the case, we are not happy, we are not good hands, and then things are not working well. As you know, we battle a lot. What is their faculties? This is my faculties. I need my companies. What is their faculties? They need their companies. They are Uber Eats. That's why their faculties. And then what is my faculties? My faculty is this bank, this. And then that is why I'm different also here with my own things. And then working without going to steal. And they're also working there without going to steal, I guess. So that is overview to overview. I know is that, and then if it come to that regards, because for him he has the diplomas, and then that's why the Canadian says since I get here in 2004, and then they say let me go back to school. I say I cannot go back to schools, and then they say let me go to adult educations. they're using force on me. And then I said, I have my recommendation. What about this teaching recommendation to my volunteer works from there? I've been teaching English, and then an English writer can go back to schools. I'm still writing. I still have a pen at hand. What is the use for me to go back to school? If going back to schools, I will be going to university or colleges. That's what I told them. And then because I did the consultations, and then those guys says you cannot be enrolled immediately to university or colleges. You wait 1 year home, and then that's when we will put you back to school. And then from there, those guys, the employment agents, and then those other people, they don't want to see people sitting home idle. They want you to go and begin work because you come from another countries, and then you're gonna be sitting home, and then you're gonna be idle. That's what they were using a force on us a lot. But I wasn't idle. And then I was also, I created those people who brought me to these countries, put tradition, negotiation, because for those guys, they want you to this office, they want you to that office as an lazy guy, and then they want to get the weaknesses. They want to milk those weaknesses, you know. That is the lazy cow. You can milk more of their cow, of their milk. You can consume more of their milk. If the cow is energetic, even you cannot get milk out of them. That's why they can kick your mouth even. You know, that is a defense systems every individual is doing. That's why maybe I'm a bad slave to these countries. That's why everything is not eatable. And then I defend because I'm a reporter. And then I'm also a pun writer. I write, and then I'm overseeing the situations. That's why things are too squeezed for them could be, and then they were bugging all along even. But I was, as I said, I was oriented and then going to some workshops, events, some other areas. That's why you can see I was candidate Sudanese-Party because of that. And then I was busy all along, and then busy also here working, busy also there working, busy also there working in the farms, and then the other areas is for those areas. And for those purposes, till 2005, that is when in January, February, that's when I went back to university and college for the regions, and then I was enrolled inside the police stations, and then the college is inside the police station. The Microsoft College is inside the police station. That is at Dundas Street. That is the Academy of Learning. You know, it's inside the police stations. And then we are working there. I worked there 2 years with the two diplomas, and then of course I graduated and I did my things, and then that's when I begin now going from one province to another province, and then return back to London, and then doing this job for that reasons. That's why if for this Uber, of course he comes with his diploma, they don't bother him, and then they know, yeah, because they call and then they go and then they are doing their jobs. I have really no idea which job, and